Welcome to the first iFocus training session. The idea of this little training session is to give you a general overview of the new and I believe a very, very useful time and goal management tool. And I think it's one of its kind because as far as we know, there has never been a way to, or has never been a possibility to include or incorporate goal management for organizations and people who work within those organizations. So this is really a pretty interesting view on time management in general, time management and goal management, because if you take a very high level view, the time and goal management of companies really depends on goal and time management of individual people that work in there. The efficiency of the company in general is normally the sum of the efficiencies of individual members, team members who work within. We can take it one level down, and that's what iFocus is very, very good at, is that we say the time management and goal setting of people who work in companies on the company time really depends how they schedule their personal goals, how they schedule their personal time as well. Maybe you can summarize what I just said.
Okay, so it all mainly depends on the people. If they have a good time and project management, the company also benefits from it, right?
Exactly. We go a few steps further down and say that this tool can also be used for personal time management, because we understand that happy people are the most productive, and each organization really has to ensure that the people who work there have the best environment, and one of the ways they can ensure is that their personal goals are aligned with the corporate goals. And that's where iFocus really shines, because you can see how you can create your personal goals and make sure they are aligned with corporate goals. Or when you create your personal goals, you check the corporate goals, and basically the idea is to have the very, very sort of integrated infrastructure, integrated ecosystem where people would feel really good about their personal time, personal goals, and they will make sure that personal goals do not interfere with corporate goals. Anyway, this is a little intro. A few points on the technology and the theory behind it, behind iFocus. iFocus was created over the last, or it's still being basically work in process. I believe we first started doing this about 3 years ago with a small application called Time Logger, I believe. And then we kept on adding new features, and now it's a complete time and goal management and even a little bit of project management. The structure and the theory, database structure and functionality of the iFocus was actually created according to the best practices and theories of time management, both corporate and personal. So theories of time management, goal setting, and project management. So everything is very, very integrated and hopefully pretty intuitive that people can understand without having to read lots of handbooks and frequently asked questions lists and stuff. As I already said, this has integrated personal and corporate goal management. A few words on technology. This is a web-based application, which means that all of the people that company has internally as well as external people that company works with on a regular basis can and should be integrated or should have the iFocus account so they can facilitate their communication with the company. Technology is Java on the back end. Front end is Ajax and HTML. JavaScript, Ajax, HTML, CSS. So it's probably the most modern set of technologies that are enterprise ready. Database engine is MySQL, version 5.0, can be ported to basically any standard SQL database. We have a very high security. Secure HTTP with 256-bit encryption is used, so any connection or any communication with the server using iFocus that you do is encrypted, so there is no problem even if you use a PC in an internet cafe or something like that. You should not have any concern over your privacy. Any questions so far?
You said something about the technology behind, and okay, maybe a silly question, but why did you use Java?
Okay, Java is enterprise-ready server-side processing language. Actually, it's a big standard, and it is probably the most secure open source alternative that we have at the moment. It is very widely used in banking and stock market management technologies, and it is also open source and free for basically everybody. It provides a very, very high security, stability, so that's the reason why we take Java. And MySQL database again is open source, free to use. It's pretty scalable, and it's very fast for the web applications.
Yeah, so of course it makes sense to use open source components to design a new product, because then you have to pay no fee, no license fees, right? And you're open for in every direction. You have no boundaries, no restrictions. So that's actually quite good.
We can have a little discussion about the advantages of open source perhaps later.
Yeah, but we can do this later, because I would be interested in how you could possibly, link it to a content management system like Drupal, for example. Mm-hmm. How that's possible, integrated there. But okay, we can talk about that later.
Let's talk about this later. So back to iFocus. I would perhaps now try to log into the iFocus account, and let's take a look at some of the have sort of high-level view checks. Check the functionality under several tabs on the top. So we have time, projects, teams, goals, and customers. When you log in into iFocus, basically the first thing you can look at is in the top left corner, the main menu bar that has links time, projects, teams, goals, and customers. So let's take a look at Time tab. Time tab is basically your daily view. It's the view that you see all your day. Basically, you use it to do time logging. You use it to see what your daily to-do lists are, what tasks you have or goals you have delegated to somebody else, or what goals were delegated to you. A lot of functionality integrated into this time view. Let's move a little bit down. The second row of control elements, or just below this time, projects, teams, goals, customers menu, we have an option to select users. This means that people who have access to, for example, managers, team managers, they can obtain access to view the time log of their new team members. So they can also see, I have to stress this, if they have access to view somebody else's time log, they can also check the time log of their new project team member, for example, to see if there is any help they need to improve their time management, etc. You can see the next point would be last 0 days, last 1, 2, 7, 14, 30, and 300 days. This is basically a way for you to view the time log sheet over the last X days in this case. Or you can select from until, so you can say, okay, I want to see my time log or the time log of whoever I have access to over the specific date. So this is where you have from until, and when you click go, you will see this on the left hand side. Now let's move to the time log itself. Time log is this left part of the window where you can actually log the use of your time throughout the day. So for example, on the bottom you see this box that has project, activity, new task, and billable. So the idea behind it is that any new task you start, you basically log, or you enter this task into this time log. It works this way. You select the project that you're working on. Let's say I select the project time log. I select the activity. Let's say we are talking right now. So we have a meeting. I select activity meeting and I type a few words about the task, etc., about the activity. So I could type with, so it would be time log meeting with, so new task would be with Carrot Solutions. And if it were, there's this interesting option billable, if this would be a real project with somebody who would be paying us on an hourly basis, we could say this is a billable time. So I can click checkmark billable and I simply click go, and what happens is this task automatically gets added to my time log on the left. So you see this task has started at 6:23 p.m. There is no finish and no duration, and I can see that this is the current project that I'm working on.